Hey everybody, Greg Koch here, 605 Running Company. Having some technical difficulties today, so we started and stopped. We'll see how long this goes. Welcome to the Skedaddle Live show. I'm excited to be here. It's Tuesday before Thanksgiving 2020. What a year it's been. It's been an interesting year. I hope you are all safe, healthy, and happy and have plans to celebrate Thanksgiving in a safe, healthy, and happy way. More on that to come. Today, I'm excited. I'm going to be talking. Our guest today is phenomenal. She's going to be a pacer in our race today. It's Carol. You'll get a chance to hear that interview here very, very shortly. I just wanted to give some updates to frequently asked questions about the race. If you haven't registered yet, you want to do that. The price is going to go up into December. So we're closing in on that price point where you want to lock yourself in so that you can start training and have something to work for in 2021. As I've mentioned in the past, we are planning on doing a live race in 2021. We're going to be live and follow all safety protocols. If we can't go live, there will not be a virtual option this year. We're going to roll everything over to 2022. We'll roll our sponsorship causes over. We're going to roll our registrations over if we have to. Now, I am confident. I'm very confident that we'll be able to do a live race. Obviously, the times right now are challenging, and I think if we can get through the next 8 weeks, we'll be in a really good place. So I want everyone to be safe, healthy, and happy. I want you to take the advice of medical professionals, listen to what they're telling you to do. We've got some great ones that we're partnering with. That's one of my main announcements today for this part. Back again for the Sioux Falls Skedaddle. Our presenting sponsor is Avera Health. Now, this is huge for us because as I talk about planning for a race and what that's going to look like, we're going to lean on Avera Health big time to make sure we're putting on a safe race. And so we're not going to do anything that Avera deems unnecessary or doesn't work within the realm of health and wellness in terms of putting on a live event. And so we've got some great guidance, some great medical experts that will lead us as we prepare for this. Obviously, I'm the race director, Greg Koch here, and I'm excited to put this race on. But as I learned a long time ago, leadership is about listening. And when it comes to health, wellness, and especially things like viruses that I have no understanding of, it's good to have some experts in the field, and Avera is our experts that we will lean on as we prepare for this event. Thrilled that Avera is going to be involved. So that's my big announcement today. Avera is our presenting sponsor once again here with the Sioux Falls Skedaddle. Avera has been involved with this race every year we've been putting it on, which is incredible for us. They started when we were small, when we were just the 605 half marathon. And then as we stepped up in scale, as we started the Sioux Falls Skedaddle, or transitioned into the Sioux Falls Skedaddle, or transformed into the Sioux Falls Skedaddle, Avera's been with us every step of the way, providing great expert medical care out on the course, expert advice, in all things sports science, health, wellness. One thing I'm going to add this year, because it's really important, in 2020, 2021 going forward, we are excited to be working with the Avera Health Foundation. They are going to be a benefactor of some of the proceeds from our race. And I made that decision. You know, being the race director, being one of the co-owners of 605 Running Company, I get to make choices like this. This was a no-brainer. So the Avera Health Foundation is huge. They do a lot of amazing things. They exist to help people share in the Avera ministry of health and healing. Health and healing in a time like this is really, really important. So the foundation does a lot of things. They assist with care in the brick and mortar facilities for Avera Health. Avera is one of the largest employers in South Dakota. They've got regional clinics. They have all sorts of services and offerings. And so the foundation helps make sure that all of those brick and mortar facilities are to the best of their abilities. They improve health and healing space when hospital revenues can't fulfill that. They pay for programming that doesn't necessarily generate income, but helps out the community. So there are lots of programs like that within the realm of healthcare that are helping, whether it's seniors or kids, all sorts of programming through Avera Health that's huge there. And then bottom line, the foundation helps save lives, improves the conditions of folks that need to use the Avera Health facilities, and also can help make someone going through the end of life process more comfortable and it's heavy stuff. It's stuff that they deal with every day in a hospital setting. And so Avera Health Foundation, huge partnership for us. Anything that we can do to help our healthcare workers, our first and last line of defense against the coronavirus, doing everything that they can to keep everyone healthy and making it through COVID-19 is huge. And so we're going to do our part and help out the foundation and help our partners Avera Health in this event. And again, we'll be leading on them for guidance. So excited to announce that partnership today. They've been a great partner for us here at 605 Running Company, especially the Avera Sports Science guys. We hope to have them on this show as we go forward leading up to the race. And we'll have some folks on the foundation to do a significantly better job of explaining what happens there than what I've done today. But I wanted to make that announcement today. We've got some great sponsors lined up. And so this, again, is Sioux Falls, the race of the people, the Skedaddle, the Sioux Falls Skedaddle Half Marathon. Our business, 605 Running Company, is a business built on building a community. We're here to enhance our local running community, and we're here for all runners. And we're going to talk more about that with Carol. So without further ado, I'm going to kick it over to our interview with Carol today. She's an amazing lady. She's a really good friend of mine. I've gotten to know her through the store. And let's just roll right into that. My guest today is local runner here to Sioux Falls, good friend of the shop, 605 Running Company, and Skedaddle runner, and in 2021, Skedaddle pacer, Carol Rosenthal. Carol, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, this is exciting to be here. Really exciting, because I love Skedaddle.
Yeah, we're going to talk about your love for Skedaddle. So this year, as I've sort of taken over the race director position, you've been helping me out kind of behind the scenes. We've got a couple of different volunteer groups that we've put together, and you've been involved in some of those meetings. And so I wanted to bring you on to the live show today just to sort of capture some of those experiences that you've talked about in some of those meetings, your running story, and what it's like to run the Skedaddle, and what people can look forward to in 2021. So first, just give me a brief synopsis of your running story, because I think it's really compelling, and I think it's really encouraging to lifelong runners, because that's what we're all about, is running for life, and health and wellness here. So give me some of that story.
So I grew up I was one of those, when you had to take those physical fitness tests in school, and you had to do that mile run. Somehow I was sick that day. I was whatever, like couldn't run, always couldn't run. And so I never did, but I was always really active. And I did all kinds of things. And for years and years, 40 something years, I've gone to a gym, I've worked out. And then a few years ago, I think it's 7 years ago, I just decided I needed to up my cardio. I was doing a lot, but I wanted to do something a little different, and I wanted to be outside more instead of inside a gym all the time. And so I thought, well, the way to do it is to run. And in my head, I thought, yeah, I can't do this. But I started out, and I could run maybe a quarter of a mile. And my goal was I really wanted to run a 5K. And I gave myself like 3 months. My daughter really got me going. We were out of town, and we did a 2-mile run. And I thought, I can't believe I did that. And like a month later, I'm looking for 5Ks. In 1 week, I ran 3 of them, and was kind of hooked. It was amazing to be outside. I felt really good. Made me feel good mentally, physically, emotionally. It just kind of hit everything. And then my daughter, you'll hear her name a couple times in this, but Deborah said, let's do a half marathon. And I'm like, I haven't even done a 10K yet, So we signed up for a half marathon that was 3-4 months away. Got our training plan. She's in Austin, Texas. I'm in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. But we kind of checked in with each other. We did the same plan. which was really nice. Even we didn't know the word virtually then, but virtually to have a training buddy, and kept each other going, and ran my first one, at Austin, Texas, the 3M half marathon. And it was like incredible to cross that line, and knew that just to know that I'd done it, and said, I'm done. I did that, check it off the list. And, a month later, I'm like, so what's like, where's another one? Sioux Falls Marathon, half marathon was around. So I signed up. And since then have run, I don't even know how many. I do know that in 2019, I did at least a half marathon every month. And I did my first marathon in 2019, again, because my daughter said, I always wanted to run a marathon before I was 40. Would you do this? And so we did it in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, which meant training through the winter here, ice, snow. And I'm a Texan by birth, so even though I've been up here a long time, I did it. I did it. And with a lot of friends that I have, or you just put out the call saying, I'm going to run, and people would meet me at this spot, and I'd drop off this runner so I'd pick up another runner. And I learned about, running in snow and ice and all the tricks you can do, and learned every layer. And then I ran, I was signed up for Chicago Marathon in 2020, and we all know 2020 came, and I did the virtual route, and did in the middle of October the 26.2 on my own, which is, a marathon's hard, but on your own is really difficult. So it's just been this journey. It's been something through the last, 8-9 months. It's really been the thing, I think, that's kept me a little sane, because it is beautiful here. Like, to go run the bike trails here, to run in my neighborhood or wherever I am, it's something I can do wherever I am, and at any time pretty much. And just to get outside and get fresh air. And, I work from home now, and I sit at this desk and I look out the window, but to know that I have the option to run. So, yeah, that's the journey. It's been an interesting one I never thought I'd be saying, and you'd be telling, introducing me as a local runner. Never thought I'd hear that.
Yeah, you're a great local runner, and a true friend of the shop. You touched on some amazing things. Running makes you feel good, and how important that has been the last 8.5, 9 months, I think, has really come to light. And that's really what 605 Running Company embodies, and that's really what Skedaddle is all about, is that those feel-good moments. And, I'm glad you brought up training through the winter, because with the Skedaddle being in April, really we're going to start to look at ramping up training here mid-January, end of January. And so, I commend you for training through the winter and knowing what it takes. I've been shocked here lately to find out how many native Texans I hang out with and talk on a regular basis. I think it's, I take all these frozen beard photos in the wintertime, and I think it's just my inner heart just yearning for warmth that I'm hanging out with so many Texans, just trying to find a reason to travel. And so one of my bucket list goals is for you and I to be able to go on a run together around Lady Bird Lake. I think that would be
I'd love it. I'd love it.
In Austin. And I know you spent some time in Austin, and I've been able to spend a little bit of time in Austin as well. So someday, Carol, that's definitely going
the 10-mile loop. The 10-mile loop, which I ran multiple times in October. Back and forth.
Yeah, and we'll go in November when the weather is really perfect there. So
that would be good. That would be good. Sounds good.
When Texans start putting on sweatpants, that's when you and I can go and run in shorts.
Deb said it was chilly this morning. It was 55.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
This morning. I know.
So we talked a little bit about your running journey, how you got into running. tell me specifically about your Skedaddle story. What was Skedaddle like for you? When did you run it? You know, we've had an interesting journey with the Skedaddle and the years that we've been putting this event on. But give me some insight. Give me some runner's perspective. You know, from my side, you know, I was just high energy cheering everyone on. Especially, I was I was like in the last 10th of a mile cheering everyone on. So I saw everyone at the finish when they're like, "Yes, we're done," and everyone was super happy. Tell me more about that runner experience and what it's like to be a part of the
Yes.
2019 Skedaddle and just Skedaddle in general.
Yeah. So, you know, the first Skedaddle, so 2019, there was so much excitement about it. I was part of the group that came to the big secret. You had the big secret, you know, and we were all kind of wondering for months, you know. We had our discussions behind your back about what it was, but the big secret, and so I was there when, you know, when it was announced, and we all went from the shop and had the big party to go with the big secret. And there was such like excitement, and excitement's not even a big enough word, because it was this happiness that you could feel in the room. People were so happy to be together. And this is pre-COVID. You know, now we really know about, you know, yearning for that, being together and being happy and celebrating. It was just this joyfulness. And, you know, that night we're all sitting there with our phones going, now where do we, and we're registering at the table while we're eating whatever, and couldn't wait to sign up. And then the floods came that spring. And, you know, so much of our training, once again, you know, went a variety of ways. And that was that was my first race post marathon. My marathon was March 2nd of that year, and then Skedaddle was the end of April. And the floods came, but you really kept us informed. We were really impressed. Like, that's not the usual scuttlebutt saying, have you heard anything from anybody? You kept us informed. You know, we're looking at this. You had plan Bs and Cs and Ds, I'm sure, too. And the route was closed that we were supposed to run. And I love our bike trail, the whole thing. I've done the circuit. And we all know that have run the trail, there are prettier parts of the trail and not as pretty parts of the trail. There's parts of the trail that you're more protected from wind, and then there's parts of the trail that will blow you away if it's windy. And because of the weather conditions and the flooding, we were going to run through not the prettiest parts of Sioux Falls, and not what I think are the prettiest parts of the trail. But still, it's like it was cold, it was windy, and there was still there was something different about it. And I've run a lot of different races in Sioux Falls and outside of Sioux Falls. There still was that fun aspect that you don't always get. You always get the aspect of, isn't it great to be with a bunch of people running a race? And that excitement and the adrenaline that builds up in you, and you're waiting for it. But this was even while we were running. And I mean, the person I was running with was not dressed. I dress with a lot of layers. You know, I had been training through the whole winter, so I knew about layers, and I could take off layers, but it's really hard to add layers if you don't have them. She ended up with one or two of my layers, I think maybe gloves of mine. I mean, she was freezing, and yet she and I both PR'd. We both still were having a blast when we went around up the hill and went around the corner and saw the finish line. And I mean, we were once again in the lot eating our breakfast with our phones out, registering for the next year. So in spite of the weather that day, the weather, you know, and the flooding before that, there was still this air of, I want to be part of this. And part of it's being with the running community that we already knew. Part of it was there were a lot of new runners that had never done a half marathon that were doing it. People, I saw mother-daughters groups do. I mean, which I always identify with, and someday maybe I'll get Deborah here to run the Skedaddle with me, would be nice. It was just, like I said, really an air of excitement and people encouraging each other. I kept apologizing. I was with a pacer and she came from Omaha and kept saying, could you please come back because you didn't get to run the pretty part of the trail. And she didn't even know it. She was so excited and had such a good time. And I went, wow, then you really need to come back. And then we know what happened in 2020. Mm-hmm. And it was hard. I mean, by then we were still thinking we're going to be done with this pretty soon. Mm-hmm. And it's now end of November and we're still not done. And it was one of the first virtual ones that most of us had done.
Yeah.
And especially of that length. And so there were some that ran together, some that didn't run together, some that did the trail and the actual course. I made the choice that I was running by myself. You know, I'm above the age that they talk about being a little more vulnerable and have some health issues that also push me into that classification. So I made the decision I was running by myself and I was not going to be on the bike trail because I knew that there would be a lot of people running it that morning. But I ran it when we were supposed to. And my house was my aid station, and I ran a back and out 3 times and stopped at my aid station, grabbed my water, and went running again. And even with that, so like some of my friends drove by and they're honking their horns and yelling because they knew which route I was going. One friend came and met me on a corner just to be able to shout because she was going to go do hers in the afternoon, but she knew I was out there in the morning. Still, that support that you felt for a virtual event is really hard to get that feeling going, and we still felt that way. So again, in the spite of 19 and 20, you know, we said we've done the good, the bad, the ugly. So 2021 is going to be the amazing. And we already know that because of past experiences, even when it hasn't gone as we'd like it to go, that it's still been really a fun event and really one that you don't want to miss out on doing.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. And I want to emphasize this. Before we started the interview, I said, no filters, Carol. You can say whatever you want. And I appreciate those words as a race director. I really, we pride ourselves on being adaptable, and creating, alternative solutions and being creative. You know, as a small business owner, we don't have a choice in that realm. We always have to be thinking ahead and what's our next step and how can we be creative with our next thing that we're doing. And so that's something we've taken a lot of pride in doing, and always keeping safety on the forefront. You talked about, obviously with COVID, you've taken this very serious in terms of keeping yourself safe, and I commend you for that, and I appreciate your efforts on being so safe. But we put on some events over the summer. After we went through the virtual experience with the Skedaddle, we were able to go live. We were actually the first entity in Sioux Falls to be able to use the bike trail with Park and Rec. And so you were able to participate in some of our live events. And I'm going to ask you one more time as a participant, what was that experience like in a COVID world, participating in one of our events as well?
So 2 things. I'll tell you, the last store I went into before we kind of shut things down was 605 Running back in March. And the first store, and actually maybe the only store I've been in since then, is also 605 Running, because you guys have really taken this seriously. And I appreciate that so much, being able to know that I'm, can have confidence that I'm going to be in a safe environment. And so, so I did the summer series. I did not do the circuit relay that you had. Made the decision, which was really a difficult one, that at that point I was still not running with anybody, and felt like that maybe I'd sit that one out, but that looked like so much fun. But I did the series. I did actually 2 out of 3 of them because I was sick for the middle one. So I did the 4 mile and the 12 mile. And I will tell you, going to the 4 mile, I was really nervous. Going into the store, you were there that day when I went in to pick up my packet that first time. I was nervous then. And going to the 4, we'd been given all these instructions. So, don't come more than 10 minutes before we were in waves and small waves. And, don't come too early. You should be masked before you start. When you're running, it's up to you, but start and finish, you're masked. Lots of hand sanitizer out. But then we also we had like the queue that was waiting to run with our X's out on the pavement, far apart from each other, and then the queue waiting to go start your wave. Again, far apart, X's on it. And you know what? I left that 4 mile one and thought, wow, I really can be together with other runners without, having that feeling of I'm sacrificing my health. And it felt so good. The 12 mile was really fun because then my daughter and grandson were at the finish line when I finished. And it was great. I mean, it was really good.
That was really magical.
It was really magical.
Yeah, that was great.
It was so great. So great. Yeah. They were also at Pasley Park when I walked by the 2 kids and son-in-law. And to be able to kind of have my own family out there was also really nice. Another thing that I love about Skedaddle, so that you've got these in-town races are really nice. That, having your friends and family along the way makes a huge difference. And even if I haven't had anybody there, you end up having people that are shouting and cheering for you, even if they don't know who you are, which is amazing. Sioux Falls is amazing in that way.
I agree. Thank you for sharing that experience and for participating in our events and volunteering to pace this year. One of my final questions is about pacing. So you're going to be a pacer this year. Tell us about your pace group and what runners that are looking to run in that group can expect from you as a pacer.
So I am what's known as the back of the packer, or whatever else you want to call it.
I like your term better.
Which took me a while to actually probably say out loud. I went through a lot of years where I never ran with anybody else because obviously there was nobody that was as slow as I was. That was what I kept telling myself, and took me a long time before I found a group that's like my group. Everybody kind of finds their people. And so even with that, most of the races that I would do, their pacers for a half marathon quit at like 2:30, 2:20 even, maybe 2:40. And I did a 2:40 once. I'd love to do it again. We'll see. But my goal just 2 years ago was to break a 3 hour. And I finally did it because I ran with a pacer. I knew I was really close, and I found the pacer, and I thought, okay, and again, I get kind of nervous with some, and I thought, can I run with you? Can I run with you? And it was the best experience I ever had. Now, when I go to races, I look for pacers, and if I can, if there's one closer to, my time, what I'd like to shoot for realistically, then I run with a pacer. But, they always tell you the party's in the back, and sometimes the party's not in the back. I can tell you, I was the very last one in a race, and I heard them right behind me on the last aid station on the walkie-talkie say, okay, the last runner just came through, we can pack up. Does not feel good. Does not feel good. Finished another local race. I did the 10K of a 5K, 10K, and no one was there at the end. So my goal is not to only to get people across the finish line close to that pace time, but also for them to really have fun doing it. Like I said, we've had fun doing Skedaddle. I really like people from Sioux Falls who are already runners or just starting to run or never run before. I love people coming in from out of town, and I hope we get that. To really enjoy Sioux Falls. To the pacer that I ran with when I broke the 3 hour was from California, and she said, "Oh, I feel like I just got my own tour, personal tour of Sioux Falls." So running with a pacer can be a blast. Running at the end can also be okay. I want you to feel really great about whatever your time is. Like I said, it took me a long time before I would out loud tell somebody, what I ran. And so I don't want them to feel like that. I've had the great feeling and I've had the not so great feeling. I want them to have the great feeling and have fun. Have fun. So you're welcome to join me. I'm doing 310.
Excellent.
310. Yeah.
Yes.
Come join me.
That's
Even
what
if you
Skedaddle
don't
is all
run,
about.
even
That
if
really
you
is
don't run
Skedaddle.
310, maybe the ones that are running like 130 should come back and join us because we're having more fun. So
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
I'll have to tell Coach Jackie that. So
Yeah, tell her.
I always make her slow down to run with me. So that's great. The mission of 605 Running Company is to enhance our local running community and be a running specialty outfitter that is here for all runners. And I think, your words really just embody what our mission is all about, being inclusive to all. We really believe in the power of running. And I'm so glad that you were able to take some time to chat with me today. I think you are truly an inspiration, and when I grow up, I want to be just like Carol. But you might have to grow up first so that I can be.
That's right. I'm never growing up. Never growing up. That's just boring. Not growing up. Running will keep you young.
That's right. That's right.
It does.
And as I've said throughout COVID, running is one of the best possible things that we can be doing for our health and wellness. You touched on it, those feel-good moments of getting outside, getting that fresh air. No matter what time of year in South Dakota, it can be done. If Carol and I can do it, anybody can. And so come join us. Carol, thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. I loved it. It was great.
There you have it. That's Carol. She's pretty amazing. She's a great friend of the shop. We've got a great lineup of pacers. Carol is one of several pacers we already have locked in, and we will have pacers from 140 all the way to 320. I have 3 pacers per group, so you should feel confident being able to sign up for the Skedaddle, especially if you're considering running your first half marathon. We've got pacers in all of those pace groups that are here to be supportive and encouraging and help you get to that finish line of the Sioux Falls Skedaddle. What a great day it's been. I am excited for the holiday here. I want to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. I appreciate you all checking out this video. If you have questions about the Sioux Falls Skedaddle, please do not hesitate to reach out to me directly here at 605 Running Company. Again, my name is Greg Koch. I am the race director. I'm the co-owner of 605 Running Company, the chief cook and bottle washer around here. And so you can get a hold of me here at the shop. Our phone number is 605-271-0480, or you can email me, greg@run605.com. Pretty pumped about all of those things. It's been quite the year. I would be rebuffed if I didn't mention, as the owner of 605 Running Company, we do have our Black Friday week happening right now. So store-wide, we've got a sale happening, 30% off, both online and here in store. We will be closed Thursday for Thanksgiving, and we will be closed on Friday, Black Friday. My staff's awesome, but I didn't need to put them through a Black Friday sale. So you can shop us online at www.run605.com. Use the code LOCAL at checkout, and you will save big bucks. So without further ado, I appreciate all of you for stopping in today and checking out this video. Carol is incredible. Once again, I want to thank her. And I also want to thank Avera Health for sponsoring, the presenting sponsor of the Sioux Falls Skedaddle. Until next time, I will see you out